Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Shabbat class, 11th of January, 2025. Okay. Topic inside the room is I'm in the book of Jasher, and I'm dealing with chapter 61. Okay, we'll break that down and then connect the dots. You can go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening, check out our videos. We have 1,000 or so videos that you can look at and get the information out, and they'll connect dots for you, lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated, okay? For those that don't know, this is the non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah, Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the 35 books of the Old Testament that were given to Moses by our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our Shabbat class, right? We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, Sabbath prayer, Psalms. We have some current events, need to know information. Then we'll open it up with some Q&A and dialogue, and then we'll go into our topic, which is dealing with the book of Jasher, chapter 61. Okay, before we get started, I had been seeing in the comments on Prophets of Awakening how you got, I have some people that's, it seems as though they're disappointed about not being aware of what we had the Zoom call with about Africa, but the way that works is we don't have your information. You got to call the number that 337-802-0889, and then we need to have some information like the email or whatever, contact information. That way you can be included in those whatever comes up, Zoom or whatever special event we have or whatever. But I gotta have your email information, okay? Contact information. So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days, okay? We're going to do our prayer. O Lord, righteousness and all bodies belongs unto thee. When we come before thee this hour, seeking thy face, looking for righteousness and all life, that we may walk before thee, as our servants David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah did. But we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord. Hide not thy face from us, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna go to our current event. We'll play them and then we'll break down the video.
And we've seen this in other states before. I remember seeing this years ago where people would set fires, and then as the other people in the surrounding homes would leave, they would have groups come in and actually try to take electronics and jewelry, everything that they could out of the homes while the firefighters are fighting a specific fire. Well, that's kind of what we're seeing now. I want to show you this as well, though. Let me play this clip for you. Look at this.
Trying to light a old Christmas tree, a dead Christmas tree on fire. Neighbors fearing that he could start, of course, another fire, deciding they had had enough, that they were going to step in. They followed this gentleman up the block, and that is where two neighbors finally decided to detain him. They had zip ties, and thankfully, they were able to hold on to this person. The LAPD arriving a short time later, taking this person into custody on suspected arson. Now, I can tell you that through a police source, we have learned that this person is believed to have been tied to the Kenneth fire. We are blurring out their face. You're looking at this video of him being detained. We are blurring out his face because police have not officially come out and said that he is connected to the Kenneth fire. But
so right there. So this person was trying to light a old Christmas tree on fire. Okay. Don't know if it's his Christmas tree. Was just trying to light it on fire to get rid of it. Interesting. At this time, okay, this was just earlier today or yesterday, but he was trying to light it on fire. Not a good time. Timing terrible. Okay, doing it with a blowtorch. Now, here's why this is such a big deal. Okay, because this is what we've seen. People are trying to benefit and prosper off of others' misfortune. Right now, there's thousands of homes that are gone, that people are going to have to wait years to rebuild, some of which are already listing those properties for sale. Okay, I've talked to several friends of mine, a couple of which have actually listed or are going to list, because right now real estate agents are swarmed. They are so busy. And I say this because right now, thousands of people, thousands of homeowners are trying to move their family into something different. They're trying to find a short-term rental, maybe a long-term. Maybe they're trying to find a home to purchase, right? This is what's happening over the past, 72 hours, that people are trying to pretty much, their lives have been uprooted. Now they're trying to establish something for their family and their kids. Well, guess what? People are still trying to benefit off of their misfortune. This is why Governor Gavin Newsom had to deploy the California National Guard to prevent looting. Look at this. This is actually from the California governor's website. It says, Governor Gavin Newsom today announced he has approved a request from Los Angeles County to deploy the California National Guard to support law enforcement efforts in the region. The Cal Guard service members join a historic number of personnel and resources combating hurricane-force wind-driven wildfires in Southern California. Comprehensive efforts continue to push to extinguish the flames. 8,000 personnel are now deployed to fight fires and ensure public safety in Southern California. Adding to
so they didn't deploy the National Guard in California because of these wildfires. Anybody heard anything about this video? Or have they seen it? Okay.
No, sir.
Nobody heard nothing about this. Yeah. So I think this is 15 hours ago. They deployed the National Guard in California. So let me get this right quick. Yeah, you can get the book on Amazon. Either Amazon or you can get it on, yeah, you can get it on Amazon. Okay. Exactly. It's on Amazon. Okay. So with that being said, we go to our next video. I don't know if anybody heard about this, but check it out.
That Ibrahim Traore, guys, they are determined to take this guy down. 4 months ago, there has been an attempted coup attempt on him, which failed to happen.
Number 19,
and now they staged
assassination
another
attempt.
one. This time, the details provided are very limited. This time, it wasn't just a coup attempt, but assassination attempt on him.
We are going to fight. That is certain. We may suffer, but we need a bit of patience, that's all. Because the situation has significantly deteriorated so much over several years.
I am not a politician. I'm not joking. I am a soldier. And I prefer to tell you the truth. Everyone is free to take or leave.
Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to this Facebook page, my YouTube channel. Guys, wonder shall never end. Another fake coup attempt on Ibrahim Traore. And that's why they pronounce the name get with the make another verse. Another fake coup attempt on Ibrahim Traore. Guys, hey, like I don't understand. You see, our African people, our African leaders, these people fighting so hard to see, how to bring Ibrahim Traore down, how to eliminate this young Africa leader, our second Gaddafi in Africa. Guys, I'll play you guys a video, and at the same time, play you guys a video of Ibrahim Traore, the Burkina Faso president, to hear what this man said. See, this man is God sent for Africa. Africa leaders, I don't know when you guys will wake up, for real. I don't know when you guys will wake up to embrace the footstep of Ibrahim Traore, the Burkina Faso president. Guys, just take a time, watch this video, see what happened. They'll come back to put our own take. Please share this video. Please let me first of all play you guys a video of how they plan to buy this man. This is making it the fourth time of this coup attempt. Fourth time. The first time they tried, they failed. Second time they tried, they failed. The third time they failed. Now the fourth time again, bro. Watch this video, they will come back. Please, I beg you, in the name of God, share this video, please. Watch, they will come back.
Breaking news, guys. Another failed coup attempt on Burkina Faso leader Ibrahim Traore. Guys, they are determined to take this guy down. A month ago, there has been an attempted coup attempt on him, which failed to happen. And now they stage another one. This time, the details provided are very limited. This time, it wasn't just a coup attempt, but assassination attempt on him. They want to buy him at once. If you are not following me, please do it now. And if you are watching from YouTube, please subscribe to stay connected. According to information, the former president of Burkina Faso, Paul Henri Sandaogo Damiba, who was ousted by Ibrahim Traore, and Togo, he is solidly behind this assassination attempt. They plan to stage an explosion inside the presidential residence. Sandaogo Damiba is solidly behind this assassination attempt. It is reported that he moved his family out of Burkina Faso this past Thursday, January 11, 2024. He did that because he knew what he was planning to do. This is not the first time his name is mentioned in coup attempt in Burkina Faso. Right after he was sacked from office, some of his men came back to overthrow Ibrahim Traore, but thankfully they were all arrested. And now a leaked audio tape revealed a conversation between the former president of Burkina Faso, Damiba, and his uncle, who also played a part in the assassination attempt. The audio revealed that they have located 4 houses where Ibrahim Traore lives, but the house where he spent most of his night is the one in Bonaville. And in the audio, he said that once they have almost
African leaders be hating on this guy because of these Westerners, and they are planning coup on top of this guy. Like, it's crazy to see how African leaders plan coup to bring down this guy. See, let me tell you guys something, African leaders. You see this man called Ibrahim Traore. See, this is the second Gaddafi in Africa. This, see, is better than every other president in Africa speak now.
Okay. Any comments on that? Like I said, this is number 19. I'm going on with that. But anyway, the title of this video is Another Assassination and Coup Attempt on Burkina Faso leader Ibrahim Traore by the French president. The previous video was National Guard deployed. So you want to check those videos out.
Thank you, sir.
You got any need to know information? I've got some need to know information right here. Keep it.
The Trump quake is shaking the world. The self-proclaimed deal maker is taking mergers and acquisitions to a whole new level. He wants to merge Canada with the US. He wants to acquire Greenland and rename the Gulf of Mexico. Needless to say, all 3 parties have reacted sharply. He also seems to be training his guns on his BFF, Benjamin Netanyahu, and wants to declare an emergency to impose tariffs. Remember, his presidency has not even begun yet, and the world is on edge. Guess who is taking on him? The one and only Jagmeet Singh. After killing Justin Trudeau's political career, he's shooting the Khalistanis in the foot. Can't complain. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the wildfires have caused damages worth billions of dollars. In the UK, MPs are targeting Pakistan. They want to freeze aid to Pakistan. We will tell you why. What does the India-Taliban reset mean for both sides? Why is Iran looking to set up a new capital city away from Tehran? Who is the Japanese gang lord who tried to sell nuclear material to Iran? Why has North Korea banned hot dogs? And how India is celebrating its diaspora with the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. All this and more coming up. The headlines first. The US under Donald Trump won't forcefully take Greenland. That's the assurance being given by the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni. She says Trump's comments on the issue are aimed at China. Meloni met the US President-elect in Florida last weekend. Trump has refused to rule out military intervention over Greenland. An international coalition will send 30,000 drones to Ukraine. The announcement was made by the UK, which is leading this group along with Latvia. The Drone Capability Coalition was formed in early 2024. Britain has not shared as to when these drones will be dispatched to Kiev. Lebanon finally gets a president after more than 2 years. The lawmakers elect their army chief for the top job. He is Lebanon's 5th army commander to become president. He now faces the daunting tasks of overseeing a ceasefire on the Israeli border and naming a prime minister. In Myanmar, an airstrike by the junta kills at least 40 people in the Rakhine state. The target was a village under the control of an armed ethnic group. The military is struggling to fight opposition to its rule across the country. More than 3 million people have been displaced by the conflict in Myanmar. And Mozambique's main opposition leader returns home from his self-imposed exile. Thousands show up to welcome him. His return comes a week before the inauguration of the next president. The opposition leader claims the October election was stolen from him and rigged in favor of the ruling party.
The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name.
¿Por qué no le llamamos América Mexicana? Se oye bonito, ¿no?
Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place.
México gobierna el pueblo.
When the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers. Record numbers.
Sí, pero no es falso. No es falso.
The gloves are off. Even before taking office, Donald Trump is shaking up US foreign policy. He's picking fights on all fronts. Trump has called Canada America's 51st state. He wants to seize Greenland, and he's also after the Gulf of Mexico. Trump wants to call it the Gulf of America. That's what he said in a press conference earlier this week.
Be changing the name Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name.
Of course, Mexico is not amused, and of course they've shot back. Leading the charge is Mexico.
This finance prodigy torched his $1 million.
She has put together her own twist to Trump's proposal, calling the US Mexican America.
Obviamente, el Golfo de México es.
The United Nations recognizes the name Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last night on the men's line on how a question that came up about the different land masses and the way that things is, everybody was just like it's a war going on between land. But when you understand what the Creator said in the last days, that everybody's gonna return back to their own land. So when you understand what happened over here, a lot of the land in America is Mexican land. Okay.
Mexico. But next, why don't we call it Mexican America? It sounds nice, doesn't it?
América Mexicana. Se oye bonito, ¿no?
President Sheinbaum is taking a dig at Donald Trump. He said Gulf of America is a beautiful name. She says Mexican America sounds nice. And she pulled out an entire map to make her point. A very old map. It dates back to 1607. That's 169 years before the United States existed as a country. So that's history lesson plus retort rolled into one.
And the Gulf of Mexico has had that name since 1607, and it's recognized internationally.
The Gulf of Mexico has been known by that name since 1607. It predates the United States by centuries. The name is internationally recognized. Donald Trump cannot simply rename it on a whim. That is the message the Mexican president was sending, and she has a good point. Trump may be able to change names on American maps, but those changes are not binding on others, not even on American states for that matter. They don't have to call it the Gulf of America. If Trump passes an order, they can always overturn. No one is safe from Donald Trump, not even his closest buddy, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. They had a great bromance in Trump 1.0. He shifted the US embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. He defended Israeli settlements in the West Bank, and he recognized Israel's rights over the Golan Heights. In return, Netanyahu heaped praises on him. He named the settlement after Donald Trump. He called it Trump Heights. But could the honeymoon be over? I ask, because of this video. It was reposted by Donald Trump on social media. It features American professor Jeffrey Sachs. He's being interviewed by Trump's ally, Tucker Carlson. The professor talks about America's meddling in Syria and Iraq. He talks about the endless wars in West Asia, and he blames them on Netanyahu. He calls the Israeli Prime Minister an obsessive, deep, dark SOB. Now, Trump has shared this video. The question is why? Why is he trying to amplify this? Does he agree with this assessment? If he does, it's a rapid U-turn, because Trump spoke to Netanyahu only last month. It was said to have been a warm, friendly conversation. And this week, he threatened Hamas. He asked them to return Israeli hostages before he took charge. If not, all hell would break loose. Those were the words he used. So what changed in 24 hours? Chances are nothing. You see, this video has a long caption with it. It talks about how Barack Obama meddled in Syria, how the CIA tried to topple Bashar al-Assad, but the caption does not mention Netanyahu or Israel. So it is possible that Trump only read the caption, that he did not hear the whole thing, and he shared it. And frankly, I don't know which is worse, that Trump is reposting abuses against a world leader, or that he doesn't listen to what he shares. Either way, the damage is done. Netanyahu was supposed to attend Trump's inauguration this month, but reports say he has pulled out. No one is explicitly blaming Trump's video post, but the timing is certainly suspect. And do you know why this confusion exists? Because of his erratic policies. Consider the whole Greenland row. Trump is asking Denmark to hand over Greenland to the US. He says he needs it for national security. Now, Greenland is an autonomous region in Denmark. In simple words, it belongs to them. So Trump is talking about taking over sovereign land, that too from a NATO ally. And this obsession is not new. He first floated this idea back in 2019, but back then he talked about buying Greenland. This time, though, he's not ruling out military action. He wants to take it any way he can. So US allies in Europe are worried. Some of them cannot wrap their heads around it. Like Germany's Olaf Scholz. He says he does not understand what Trump means.
In my discussions with our European partners, a certain lack of understanding has emerged with regard to recent statements from the United States. The principle of inviolability of borders applies to every country, regardless of whether it is to the east or west of us.
Okay, any comments on that? That's anybody have any comments?
Shalom. It just seems like he's just that spirit that is in him is going wild, because he's just doing so many things before he becomes president, officially president, to sit in the seat and be in the White House. And it doesn't even sound right to go and overthrow a country because he says he wants it, you know. So it just, everything is just not adding up for him.
Exactly, right. It seems like to me, war. They know war. They already know war is in the future, and they're trying to get all these strategic positionings to be in a place where they can, you know, defend themselves. Like, for instance, Panama Canal. You know, like I said, when you go back in history and look at all the people that, like when Britain ruled the world, Britain controlled all those ports, controlled all the places like the Panama Canal and all that. Whatever country controls all those ports is the country that rules. Is the what they call it, lead nation. So that's what it seems like to me they're doing. They're trying to set up strategic positions for wartime. And it's not him because he's a dummy, but it's handlers. They didn't gave him marching orders, and he kind of do all he can to get everything in place. But like I said, he's doing it like seems like to me scatterbrain.
I agree, sir.
Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. Open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything from during the week or research or something they came across you want to talk about?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. I had a question of what you thought about with the fires in LA or in California. I seen a little theory video that was saying the Olympics is going to be in LA in 2028, but they actually don't have anywhere to host the event. And in the video I was watching, it was saying that they're actually gonna probably build it where those fires were.
Okay.
But
yeah.
oh yeah, I just wanted to know what you thought about that.
Well, when you brought it up, first thing I thought about was you remember I can't think of his name, one of the Roman Caesars in the very beginning. He had he started this big fire. He wanted to build this big old lavish palace in Rome, but it wasn't no room to build it. So he started a fire and burned everything down. Made it look like the people had done it. And then he built this palace that he wanted to build. The whole time, the whole thing was set up and made it look like it was awesome, but he made it look like the people had caused it. The so-called peasants. I can't think his name.
That not Augustus, right?
No, it was after Augustus. He ended up having all of them had mental conditions because they was inbred, but he had it real bad. He had a mental condition, and then he ended up killing himself, suicide. I think, matter of fact, I believe he was the last Caesar from that first dynasty.
Yes, Shalom. And I thought they accused the Jews of setting that fire.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So-called Jews. Yeah, they said the Jews had done it, and but it was their intention for them. They wanted to build a new royal palace within the city of Rome, but there wasn't no room. So they concocted that scenario that the Jews had burned it down. They had a problem with the ruling class.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Here in like in the US and a lot of states, they just when they want to build something like in 95 here in Georgia, when the Olympics was going to be here in Atlanta, they did a lot of redistricting and buying out the old houses, and then they, did the dome. And so they'll do that, redistrict you to move you out, and then make what they want in that space. Shalom.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, they did that with the highways too. The highways, interstate system, they went and made it a point to go through to and destroy the black neighborhoods. They didn't put the highway. They designed the highways and the interstates to go through the black neighborhoods.
Shalom. I think they call it eminent domain.
Right. Exactly. You're right. So that ain't nothing new for them. They've been doing that. I mean, the same thing with what happened in Hawaii. They got something planned for that. And I remember back in the day how it was going around that that's what they had done in New Orleans with Katrina. They wanted to turn that into like a big lavish resort, high-tech resort. So they came in with that hurricane and ran off. They wanted to get rid of a lot of the local people, the blacks. So they came in, tore it up like that, and not only that, they supposedly rumors was that they blew the dam up. It wasn't all the hurricane that did all that. The damage came when they exploded the dam. Okay. So yeah, I'll figure out who that guy's name was before it's over with. But
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Was his name Nero?
Yeah, that's it, Nero.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
he's the last. I think he was the last emperor from Julius Caesar lineage. Out of that lineage. Okay. So play this right here, and then we'll go into our lesson. This is another attempt. Like I said, I think it's America behind it. They part of it, but it's another attempt on another one of those countries over there.
Chad's January 2025
Sahel.
crisis, a pivotal moment in its turbulent history that might change the way we view the future of African politics. On January 8, 2025, Chad experienced a chilling attack on its presidential complex in the capital, N'Djamena. At first glance, this appeared to be the type of insurgent assault that the world had grown accustomed to hearing about in conflict zones. Gunmen stormed the complex.
So they're at war with Africa, especially over in West Africa. They're at war, but they're playing that it's on down low, but they're at war.
Opening fire on government officials and soldiers, sparking a deadly firefight that claimed 19 lives. It was a moment that could have shattered the country's fragile political stability. The attack left the country reeling in shock, but what followed was even more profound than the violence itself. The country's response and the broader geopolitical shifts that this attack signaled. So, who is behind all this, and what now? Here, we would like to take a moment and thank you for supporting us and being a valued part of our strong community. And if you are not yet a member, we encourage you to join us and help build an even stronger community together. Let's get started. The morning of January 8, 2025, was one that will go down in Chad's history as a day of chaos and uncertainty. A group of armed assailants stormed the presidential complex in N'Djamena, the very symbol of the country's political power and authority. Shots rang out in the heart of the capital, and what followed was a brutal clash between the attackers and Chadian security forces. In a matter of hours, 19 people lay dead, and the entire country was left wondering how such an audacious assault could take place in the center of their government. At first, the assumption was that this was another attack by Boko Haram, the radical insurgent group known for its relentless violence in the region. Chad, having long been a frontline state in the fight against insurgent groups in the Sahel, had already become a prime target for these militants. Their presence in the region made it easy to draw that connection, especially given the scale of the violence. But as investigations unfolded, Chad's government quickly shifted the narrative. These weren't seasoned militants with a clear agenda, but a group of criminals, some of whom were reportedly intoxicated at the time. The government's statement that the attackers were misguided and drunk left many wondering. How could a group of intoxicated criminals manage to breach the most secure area in the country?
I don't find it credible that this was a terrorist act, as I was at the scene. However, the public prosecutor
What if I told you that for just $22?
So like I said, they at war. They in the all-out war with the West Africa, and but they on the deal with it. Because when you look at it, they everything that they have and their existence depends on cutting off what they see is happening. Okay. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna go into our topic, which is like I said, I'll be reading out of the book of Joshua, chapter 61, and then kind of branch off into some other information, but I'm gonna be reading out of Joshua chapter 61. Okay, so start reading. Okay. Okay, it says, and it came to pass at the time the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, commanded all his people to make for him a strong palace in Egypt. And says, and he also commanded the sons of Jacob to assist the Egyptians in building. And the Egyptians made a beautiful and elegant palace for a royal habitation. And he dwelt therein, and he renewed his government, and he reigned securely. So the reason I'm reading this is, once we get into it, you can see that this is during a time that before the Israelites got oppressed in Egypt, because this Pharaoh right here is telling the Egyptians to build him a palace, right? But at the same time, he wants the Israelites to assist him. So we know that when the Israelites first went there, when Joseph was ruling, it was during the time of Joseph. Joseph was ruling, they controlled Egypt. He brought his 12 brothers with him. His 11 brothers came, and Jacob came, and they was ruling Egypt. So that's why, right, like I said, they working along with the Egyptians. This is right before they became afflicted. And like I said, in Genesis chapter 15, when the prophecy is that they was going to a strange land, and they was going to be there servitude. They was going to serve these people, and they was going to afflict them. So when you adding up the amount of time, according to the prophecy, it's a combination of servitude and being oppressed. So I want to show you this. So the next verse kind of explains a little bit. Verse 3 says, Zebulun, right? That's one of the sons of Jacob. Zebulun died. See that? In that year. The same year, Zebulun died in that year. That, and check it out, that is the 72nd year of the Israelites going down to Egypt. So there it is right there. 72nd year from what? The prophecy that the Lord of hosts told Abraham. They're going to go there for 400 years and serve the Egyptians. And then they're going to afflict them. And we see the same thing with when you go to the 70 years that Jeremiah prophesied. When we get to the book of Daniel looking, and according to the book, according to what Jeremiah had wrote down, the prophecy, they was at 69, 70 years. And the Nebuchadnezzar had died, his son, grandson, and son, his son and his grandson had died, which is part of the prophecy. So that's why Daniel went to praying, because he saw the time was up. So it's the same thing right here. It says, verse 3, Zebulun, the son of Jacob, died a year. That is, so he's looking at the prophecy of Abraham in Genesis 15. This is the 72nd year of going down of the Israelites into Egypt. And Zebulun died 114 years old and was put into a coffin. So remember that. So check it out. He was put into a coffin and given into the hands of his children. So they in Egypt and they control the land of Goshen, and they separated by tribes. And Zebulun dies. And so the children, he's the father over the children of Zebulun. So when he died, they buried him in the region, the land that they occupied in Goshen. They put him in a coffin and buried him amongst his children in the land of Goshen, right? Remember that. So verse 4, and in the 75th year died his brother Simeon. So they started to die off. So in the 75th year died his brother Simeon. He was 125 years old at his death, and he was also put into a coffin. See that? To a coffin and given into the hands of his children, right? And Zephlo, right? Zephno, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, captain of the host of Angus, king of Dinah, was still daily enticing Angus to prepare for battle, to fight with the sons of, check it out, to fight with the sons of Jacob in Egypt. So this during the time of their servitude, part of the prophecy. They ain't been afflicted yet. So this when Joseph jumped it off, because he was second in charge. He was serving the Pharaoh. Then he brought all his brothers there. Now they all, because of their intelligence and their might, they serving the Egyptians, right? So it says, Zephno, the son of Eliphaz, captain of the host of Angus, king of Dinah, was still daily enticing Angus. So this is another king in Africa that, and like I was saying, this is the thing that you have to understand. The same way that Joseph went into Egypt and became great and he served the Egyptians, Esau got a son right here, Zephno. He doing the same thing with this king right here. He's serving this king. So it says, and Eliphaz, the son of Esau, captain of the host of Angus, king of them, was still daily enticing Angus to prepare for battle to fight with the sons of Jacob in Egypt. And Angus was unwilling to do this thing, for his servants had related him all the might of the sons of Jacob, right? So they're not under affliction yet of Jacob, and they had done unto them in their battle with the children of Esau. That's when Jacob had died. It says, and after some time, Angus hearkened to the words of Zephno, and he consented to him to fight with the sons of Jacob in Egypt. And Angus got all his people in order, a people numerous as the sands of the sea. And he formed his resolution to go to fight, to go to Egypt to battle, right? So check this out. And amongst the servants of Angus was a young 15-year-old Balaam, the son of Beer was his name, and the youth was very wise and understood the art of witchcraft. Anybody know who Balaam is?
He's the one of the magicians from when Moses and Aaron went to the Pharaoh, right?
Right. This is when Balak, when they was coming out of Egypt, Balak tried to get him to curse the Israelites. But he's a lot older now. But right here, he's only 15 years old. Okay, let's look at it. So go to King James, to Numbers. Go to Numbers in the King James Bible. Okay, chapter 20. Let me see. Chapter 22 says Balak sends Balaam, and the children of Israel set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab and on this side of the Jordan. So they leaving Egypt now. They've been delivered. And Balak the son of Zephyr saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was so afraid of the people because they were many, and Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. And Moab said unto the elders of the Midian, now shall this company lick up all that are round about us, as an ox licketh up the grass of the field. And Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at that time, and he sent messengers, therefore, right, unto Balaam. See that? Remember what they just said over there in Jasher? He was known, he's wise, and he's renowned, but he was young. He's 15. He's a lot older now. And then it says, Balaam the son of Peor, or Petor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, behold, there's a people coming out of Egypt. And behold, they cover the face, says, behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, and curse me, this people, for they are too mighty for me. Right? So we see long before that happened, they getting him to do the same thing right here. For the the king of Egypt wanted him to do the same thing. So let's go back over here. It says in verse 8, and amongst the servants of Angus was a young 15-year-old Balaam, the son of Peor was his name, and the youth was very wise and understood the art of witchcraft. And Angus said unto Balaam, conjure for us, I pray thee, with the witchcraft, that we may know who will prevail in the battle to which we are now proceeding. So same thing that Balak did, Angus did before that, to get him to try to curse the Israelites, right? And then keep in mind, the same Balaam, the one, that was his two sons when Moses stole the rod down on the ground. That was his two sons, Janus and Jambres, that threw their rods down. Verse 10, and Balaam ordered that they should bring him wax, and he made therefore of the likeness of chariots and horsemen, representing the army of Angus and the army of Egypt. And he put them in the cunningly prepared waters that he had for that purpose. And he took his hand and the boughs of myrtle trees, and he exercised his cunning, and he joined them over the water, and there appeared unto him in the water the resembling images of hosts of Angus falling before the resembling images of the Egyptians and the sons of Jacob. And Balaam told this thing to Angus, and Angus despaired, and did not arm himself to go down into Egypt, and he remained in his city. And when Zephno, the son of Eliphaz, saw that Angus despaired of going forth to battle with the Egyptians, check it out, Zephno fled from Angus, from Africa, and he went and came to Chechem. So anybody know who Chechem is?
Virginia Rome.
Right. That's the son of the Romans. That's the Romans. So we know that today the fourth beast is Rome. Is a combination of Edom merging with the Romans. Chechem and the Edomites came together as one. That's what the fourth beast is. This is the guy that started it right here, Zephno, son of Esau. This is Alexander's great granddaddy. Zephno had Philip, then Philip had Alexander, but they're Edomites. So let's look at that right quick, because I think when I be reading out of these different books, these dots ain't connected. So if you go to the Apocrypha, right? Go to First Maccabees. I'm always going to First Maccabees, and this will connect the dots. This is where the Antichrist came out of Esau. So I'm in First Maccabees. Just connect this dot right here. So it says, let me get it. First Maccabees, chapter 1. It came to pass after Alexander of Macedon, right? The son of Philip. See that? That's Zephno's son. Right? The son of Philip, who came from the land of Chechem, had utterly defeated Darius, the king of the Medes and Persians. He reigned in his stead, and as he had before reigned over Greece. And he waged many wars, captured fortresses, slaughtered the kings of the earth, and he made his way to the ends of the earth, despoiled a multitude of nations. The whole earth was silent before him, and he became exalted, and his heart was uplifted. He mustered a very mighty army and ruled over lands and rulers of the heathens, and they paid him tribute. Afterwards, he fell sick, right, and knew that he was going to die. So he called in distinguished servants who had been brought up with him, these Edomites, right, and divided his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Alexander had reigned 12 years when he died. So the fourth beast was set up right here. When Alexander died, the four beasts, the Greek kingdom was divided up by these four Edomites, right? And then that's how you come into the fourth beast. They Edomites. So it says, verse 8, his servants succeeded him. See that? This are the same lineage. His servants succeeded in his own dominion after his death, and they all put on crowns, as did their sons after them for many years. And they did much evil on the earth. And there sprang from them a sinful shoot, and Antiochus, son of King Antiochus, he had been a hostage in Rome. See that? Because they tied. They linked together. The Greek Empire is being ruled by these Edomites, and they got this King Antiochus got a son that's a hostage in Rome. And he became king in the 131st year of the Greek kingdom. See that? But they Edomites. That's where it started at right here, what I'm reading. With Zephno. He's a son of a giant woman, so he's a giant. So this Zephno right here. So like I was saying, what Joseph did in Egypt, Zephno did in Rome. Okay, so it says, verse 13, all the people go back up, 11. And Balaam took this thing to Angus, and Angus despaired and did not arm himself to go down into Egypt to battle, and he remained in his city. And then when Zephno, the son of Eliphaz, saw that Angus despaired of going forth to battle with the Egyptians, Zephno fled from Angus and from Africa, and he went and came to Checham, just the folk Romans, right? And all the people of Checham received him with great honor, and they hired him, just like the Egyptians did with Joseph. And they hired him to fight their battles all the days. And Zephno became exceedingly rich, right? And the troops of King Angus still spread themselves in those days. And the children of Checham assembled and went to Mount I can't say that word, Capizah, on account of the troops of Angus, king of Africa, who were advancing upon them. And it was one day that Zephno lost a young heifer, and he went to seek it, and he heard it lowing round about the mountain. And Zephno went and saw, and behold, there was a large cave at the bottom of the mountain, and there was a great stone there at the entrance of the cave. And Zephno split the stone and came into the cave, and he looked, and behold, right, a large animal in the ox, right? And from the middle upward, it resembled a man, but from the middle downward, it resembled an animal. So this is from where the angels were sleeping with animals, right? This is where you get this creature from. And Zephno rose up against the animal, slew it with his sword. So right here, it show you he's a mighty man, just like the ones that was with David, right? Lion-like. Anyway, 16, and the inhabitants of Chichem heard of this thing, and they rejoiced exceedingly, and they said, what shall we do unto this man who has slain this animal that devoured our cattle? So right here, exact same thing the Egyptians did with Joseph, when he broke down the dream of that the Pharaoh had. Then they came to the conclusion and said, what are we gonna do with this man? And they made Joseph second in charge. They did the same thing right here, but except they made Zepho king over them. Okay, so 18, at that time, Janus, the daughter of Uzzah, wife of King Angus, became ill, and her illness was heavy felt by Angus and his officers. And Angus said unto his wise men, what shall I do, Jonah, and how shall I heal her from her illness? And his wise men said unto him, because the air of our country is not like the air of the land of Checham, and our waters is not like their water. Therefore, from this has the queen became ill. For through the change of air and water, she became ill. And also because in her country, only water which came from Perma, which her ancestors had brought up with bridges. And Angus commanded his servants, and they brought unto him in vessels of water or Puma belonging to Checham. And they weighed those waters with all the waters of the land of Africa, and they found those waters lighter than the waters of Africa. And Angus saw this thing, and he commanded all his officers to assemble the hewers of stone in thousands and tens of thousands, and a huge stone without number. And the builders came, and they built an exceedingly strong bridge, and they conveyed the spring water from the land of Checham unto Africa. And those waters were for Jaina, the queen, and for all of concerned, to drink from and to bake, wash, and bathe therewith, and also to water therewith all seed from which food can be obtained, and all fruit of the ground. And the king commanded that they should bring the soil of Checham in large ships, and they also brought stones to build therewith, and the builders built palaces for Jaina the queen, and the queen became healed of her illness. And the revolution of the year, the troops of Africa continued coming to the land of Checham to plunder, as usual. And Zephaniah, son of Eliphaz, heard this report, and he gave orders concerning them, and he fought with them, and they fell before him, and he delivered the land. Here you go right here. This is where the Union come in. And he delivered the land of Checham from them. And the children of Checham saw the valor of Zephaniah, and the children of Checham resolved, and they made Zephaniah king over them. And he became king over them, right? And while he reigned, they went to, check it out, they went to subdue the children of Tubal and all the surrounding islands. So that's all the Japhet children. So Angus, when the Edomite, he went and subdued all the Gentiles. This is what nobody don't know. He subdued all the Gentiles, and now he an Edomite, but he king over all the Gentiles, right? And then 24, and the children of Checham, oh, that's already that 25, and their king Zephaniah went at their head, see that? And they made war with Tubal and with the islands. That's all the Greek islands. And they subdued them. And when they removed them from the battle, they renewed his government. When he returned from battle, they renewed his government for him, and they built for him a very large palace for his royal habitation, and a seat. And they made a large throne for him. And Zephaniah reigned over the whole land of Checham and over the land of Italy, 50 years. So that's wrong, right? But this is what I want to show you too. So see right here, it says, remember, David got a throne, right? He the Messiah, he our Messiah. David got a throne. Well, here go Esau's throne right here. Check it out. And their king Zephaniah went at their head, and they made war with Tubal and the islands, and they subdued them. And when they returned from the battle, they renewed his seat, right? And they made a large throne for him. They go to Esau got a throne. Like I said, everything Jacob got, he got. But Lucifer, Samuel behind their throne. Like Isaac told him, you're gonna rule, you're gonna live in the fatly places of the earth, but you're gonna live by the sword. So right here, they made him a large throne for him, right? And Zephaniah reigned over the whole land of Checham and over Italy 50 years. This is how the fourth beast was set up right here. So this throne right here, this is the throne that's in Great Britain. That they want to rule the world from Jerusalem for 1,000 years. They want to take Zephno's throne. They're telling you it's David's throne. They want to take this throne back to Israel. That's what we're looking at right now. That's what they're trying to do. They want to take Zephno's throne back to Israel. Remember what Psalms 89 said? They didn't cast David, what David did down to the ground. They didn't cast David's crown and his throne down to the ground. They got Zephno's throne. That's what Queen Elizabeth is sitting on. And King Charles now. They on Zephno's throne. Okay, any questions, comments? Anybody got any comments or questions? Okay, so one more thing I said I wanted to talk about. It's tied to this, right? So we go to, I was telling you about Genesis 15, how they got us thinking that the 400 years is over here, right? But it was in Egypt. That prophecy had to do with Egypt. So I'm gonna go to Joshua. And what I just told you about, those boys died, just like before the flood. Remember that those men was living 900 years, but right when it's time for the flood to come, the Most High, Lord of hosts didn't want to see that he didn't want them to see, experience that wickedness that he brought on the earth with the flood. So they start dying off. We see the same thing right here with Jacob's children, sons. Right before Abraham was born and before the affliction came that he prophesied to Abraham about, those boys died. And they all of them, they had lots, just like they had in Israel. They had 12 lots in Goshen. So when one of them boys died, they buried him in that lot where all his children was at. So here we go right here. This is how we know we tie this to Genesis 15. So in chapter 75, Joshua, or 80, let me see if this is. Okay, hold on. Yeah, chapter 80. Go to the last 5 verses, verses 59 through 63. It says, and all the Egyptians sent, not the Americans, all the Egyptians sent the Israelites forth with great riches, just like he told them in the prophecy in Genesis 15. All the Egyptians sent the Israelites forth with great riches, sheep, oxen, precious things, according to the oath of the Lord. See that? Between him and our father Abraham. That takes you right to Genesis 15. Then 60. And the children of Israel delayed going forth at night. And when the Egyptians came to them to bring them out, they said to them, are we thieves that we should go forth at night? And the children of Israel asked the Egyptians, vessels of silver, vessels of gold, and garments. And the children of Israel stripped the Egyptians, just like the Lord told Abraham in Genesis 15. And Moses hastened and rose up and went to the river of Egypt. And look at this, brought forth from thence the coffin of Joseph. See that? Coffin of Joseph, and took it with him. Now check it out, 63. And the children of Israel also brought up each man his father's coffin with him, and each man his coffin of his tribe. So when they left Egypt, the story we always reading about it, all the movies, they had all the 12 coffins too. They had it with them. The whole time they was going around in circles in the 40 years in the wilderness, they had these coffins with them. And this take you right to Genesis 15. We got nothing to do with no America. See that? And then Joseph told him, right? Well, before he died, he said, the Lord is coming. And when he do, take my bones with you. So how in the hell can that be now? So what is Joseph talking about? He said what Abraham had told him, what had been passed to him from Jacob. That Abraham had told us that the Lord was going to We was gonna go into an affliction. And they was in the middle of it. Joseph looking at it, its beginnings. And then he said, the Lord gonna come and deliver you and take you out of here. That's prophecy in Genesis 15. Right? So let's go to some more evidence. If you go to chapter 75. Saying it's like I said, it ain't a coincidence. All this is right here together because it's all pertaining to a prophecy that the Lord gave Abraham. So it says in chapter 75, at that time in the 186, here you go. This is the timeline. I just showed you earlier that it was 72 years into the prophecy that he had gave Abraham. Now we're in chapter 75, and it says, at that time in the 180th year of the Israelites going down in Egypt. So now they're at 180 years. It's a countdown for the 400 years, the same thing that Daniel was doing with Jeremiah with the 70 years, right? It says, and there went forth from Egypt valiant men, 30,000 on foot, from the children of Israel, who were all of the tribe of Joseph. Tell you who they are. The children of Ephraim, son of Joseph. Then here you go. For they said the period was completed, which the Lord had appointed to the children of Israel in times of old, which he had spoken to Abraham. Take you straight to Genesis 15. Okay. Then you go to same chapter, verse 17. For this evil was from the Lord. Same thing he's doing over here. This evil was from the Lord with the curses. The evil was from the Lord against the children of Ephraim, right? For they had transgressed the words of the Lord in going forth from Egypt before the period had arrived, which the Lord in the days of old, remember what I talked about that with when they did with JC, in the days of old, they had appointed to Israel. Take you back to Genesis 15. Lord of hosts talking to Abraham. He's performing it like he said. I spoke it, and I performed it, and it's going to come to pass. We're looking at it right here. Hosea. Same way he did with Daniel. Okay. And then you go to chapter 76, verse 12. So Moses went, check it out. So Moses went forth from the land of Cush, and he went home, and he ceased to reign over Cush, right? And Moses was 66 years old. They give you the timeline. Moses was 66 years old when he went out of the land of Ketchum, out of the land of Cush, right? For the theme was from the Lord. See that he performing it. For the period had arrived, just like with Daniel, which he had appointed in the days of old. See that? To bring forth Israel from the affliction of the children of Ham. So the Ham ain't over here. Ham in Africa. See that? Okay, so while we there, I want to show you something like I was saying before. This Esau that is finest, like I was saying. So I'm in Micah. That was dealing with Genesis 15. A lie they told and said that that's America, right? So now they say they told another lie and said JC was out of David lineage, right? So I'm in Micah. We was dealing with this last week, but I'm trying to connect these dots. So I'm in Micah, right? Micah chapter 5. Chapter 5, verse 2. So right here it says the deliverers from Bethlehem, right? So let's look at that right quick. Deliverers from Bethlehem, right? First thing I said, we've been brainwashed. You are already thinking JC. But let's go to 2 Samuel right quick. Let me get it. First Samuel. First Samuel chapter 16, right quick. I'm in chapter 16, verse 1. So it says, and the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil, right? That's how you get a Messiah, with this oil right here. And go, I will send thee to Jesse, the Bethlehemite. See that? A Bethlehemite means he's from Bethlehem, right? So this the connection when you're dealing with Israel, with Bethlehem, is Jesse, not Jesus. The connection with Bethlehem is Jesse. Right here it says, I will send thee to Jesse, the Bethlehemite. He's from Bethlehem, for I have provided me a king among his sons. Now, go to Micah chapter 5, right? I'm in chapter 5, verse 1. Now, gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He have laid a siege against us, and they shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. Now, verse 2. But thou, O Bethlehem Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, see that? Yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth has been from old. See that? Not no, the everlasting was added, just like we just read in Jasher. Let me read that again. So we go to let me get it. We go to Jasher chapter 76. This pertaining to the prophecy with Abraham. The conversation the Lord had with Abraham in Genesis 15. I'm in 76 of Jasher, verse 12. So Moses went forth from the land of Ketchum, and he went home, and he ceased to reign over Cush. And Moses was 66 years old when he had went out from the land of Cush. For the thing was from the Lord, right? For the period had arrived, which he had appointed in the days of old. That's all. That was the end of the conversation. The days of old, not from everlasting, but it's from the days of old, to bring forth Israel from the affliction of the children of Israel. So all he's doing is completing a promise that he had made with Abraham. And the same thing we reading in Michael. It ain't got nothing to do with no JC or the New Testament. He said he's gonna bring forth. He sent Samuel to Bethlehem. And Samuel got to Bethlehem and got to Jesse's house, and he wanted Samuel to anoint David. And he went there and looked at his boys, and David wasn't there. And he said, do you have another son? He said, yeah, in the field. And he came back. He went and got David, brought him, then David anointed him. That's the Messiah. So when you get to Micah, it says, now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He have laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. Right then too. But thou, O Bethlehem Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth have been from old. Take you to Genesis, Samuel, 1 Samuel 16. That's when David became king. He ruled and died. Now he's going to bring him back. This verse right here taking you back to when David was first anointed by Samuel. And not no star in the sky, no manger. Okay? That's what they done. Okay? So, with that being said, anybody got any comments or questions before we close out?
Shalom. Yes, sir. In following all of the books and chapters you went through, connecting the dots, the thing that stands out is days of old. That's in everything that to be connected. And when the people, were trying to reject Samuel, and the Lord said, Samuel won't be the king. Saul, Samuel will be the king. In chapter 16, when you were talking about, and the Lord said unto Samuel, how long thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel. I'm sorry, David is going to be the king.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's when David came into power.
Yes,
and
sir.
that's what Michael is referring to when he goes back to Bethlehem. Like I said, nobody deals with that word Euphrates. All they know is the brainwashing you got from Jesus being born in Bethlehem in the manger and all that, but they don't understand that the effort is part of that. Bethlehem Euphrates is tied to Jesse. Ain't tied to no little kid being born in no manger.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
And you also look at all of the 12 tribes, like you said, they were put into coffins and carried around so that they would be, when the Lord of hosts comes back in judgment, they would be right where they're supposed to be.
Right. In the land. In a lane. So like I was saying, they ain't bring them all, they didn't bring those 12 coffins all the way over here to America. It's
No, sir.
ludicrous. So the land gotta be wherever the land is where the coffin's at. It ain't over here. Oh yeah. And that's where everything become absurd. Because it's like, come on, what you talking about? Yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to every chance I get, trying to get more involvement, more engagement. So what I'll start doing, I was gonna do it right now, but I'm gonna start doing it from this evening with the evening Shabbat class. I'm gonna have somebody pick a scripture out, any scripture that come to their mind, and we'll read that scripture. Then after we read the scripture, we're gonna get the understanding of what the scripture was saying. Whether we got to go back in the scriptures or go forward, but we're gonna connect the dots like that. I think that's gonna help a lot more too for people that's on the line and people that's listening. It just can't just happen to come in or whatever. But so I'm gonna start doing that. Pick a scripture, pick somebody, they pick a scripture, we read the scripture, and then we connect the dots. What the scripture is actually talking about.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I've never heard about the brothers passing and they took those coffins with them. It was always only Joseph. So
right. Exactly.
Much enlightenment. Much enlightenment.
Right. Yeah. That's a reason for that, because they're trying to lead you to JC. They don't want you to understand. Like I was saying, when you see that part right there, that lets you know that Isaiah 53, the suffering servant, it's talking about the Israelites. Because they want you to think it's one person he dealing with. No, it's the suffering servant is a whole race of people that he chose, and especially the Levites. He took the Levites to himself. They his servants, and so they co judges with him. The Ten Commandments, the Levites is responsible for making sure that those judgments go forward, and when they don't go forward, they the ones that get punished. They the ones that receive the affliction, not JC.
Yes, sir. Also, what they said, 70 souls went in the Gisham and a million came out.
Right. Exactly. That was what when they got into the land of Canaan. If you remember, Moses said, we stand here as the sands of the sea, as a number. So that lets you know he completed the prophecy that he gave Abraham, that his descendants was gonna be like the sands of the sea. So when Moses said that, that was completed. Okay. And then we go to the curses. Now he's reducing that number, because they didn't win against him. And now that covenant, that prophecy that he completed for Abraham, now he's against it. He's reducing it down to nothing, where we at right now. And so it's all about Abraham's seed. It's not no one man. It's about a race of people. Okay. Anybody got anything else?
No, sir.
Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, I just want to say you read out of the book of Jasher, right? The KJV and the first book of Maccabees, right?
Right.
3 different places that you read out of. And I know that there are a lot of people that say that they don't read the book of Jasher, Jubilees, or Enoch, or the other. To get that understanding, you have to, because this information is scattered all over the place. And
Right.
even though
Exactly.
you went in the KJV to certain spots, it also takes you back to the book of Daniel.
Right.
You know, where
Exactly.
it's, yes, sir. So this information is all over the place. So I know for me, it was confusing a lot because it just was scattered all over the place.
Right.
And I just could not connect those dots because I was just in that book of Daniel and not connecting it even to the book of Maccabees.
Right.
So you
Exactly.
just can't disregard those books because you're still going to be lost and lacking a lot of information and understanding.
Right. It's a puzzle, and you got then the pieces all over the place.
It
That's how you got to look at it.
right, it is.
Shalom. I just want to add on to Sister Michelle when she said about the different books, because I try to get all of the different books. As you continue to read, I could say for myself, just like you pointed out, Brother Leonard, you would see the days of old here, the days of old there, and in all the different places to be able to connect. And when you look in the different books of Daniel and First Samuel, Micah, and these books, you can reference something when you go get Maccabees and Jasher, and you can reference that and you can see the difference on how they change things from the Old Testament and put into the New Testament in a different way. Shalom.
Exactly. Right. Right. And like I was another thing about that is that this thing about the UFOs, right? The angels coming back and they gonna get us in UFOs. Okay, like I was saying before, look at what I mean. Buzz Aldrin said he went up in the first astronaut that went up and he said that he saw a being, an angel up there, and he said one of his wings on one side was so huge and stretched so far that he said he was never gonna go back up there again. That we don't belong up there, right? So you gotta look at that because we all we thinking one thing about what's how his creation was, but it's actually another way. They didn't led us off to something else. And like I was saying, when those fallen angels came down here and they came on Mount Hermon, once they went into those women, the scriptures tell us, Enoch tell us, they wasn't able to ascend no more. So they lost their wings or the ability to use them. So they couldn't ascend. So you got these super highly intelligent beings that's confined to the earth. And that's where the stargazing and all that come in. So they want to get back up to the stars, right? So how you think they got back to the stars? How you think they got there? They concoct these crafts. They concoct these crafts. So my reason for saying that is this. If they concoct, they highly intelligent beings, and they concoct these crafts that we're amazed at the way how they zipping through the air and all that. If they concocted them, and then you say, can nobody craft what the New Testament? They craft them ships. Crafting the New Testament wasn't nothing. That's that Fermi. They said all they had to do was sit there and figure out how to disannul the Lord of hosts that was in the Hebrew scriptures, and that's all they did. They just concocted the New Testament and put JC over there. They God. Like we see that Esau, that's the throne that they actually dealing with, is no throne. But they didn't use the Old Testament to try to make you think that the brainwash us, there is, it's Hebrew. But the whole time they didn't wrap all this wickedness. They didn't use all the scriptures and wrap it around all this wickedness. And like I said, that's nothing to do compared to making a damn spaceship that's doing all the stuff you see it do in the sky. Because that's who it is. There ain't nobody. When you look at it, when you see what he said, what the guy said about how huge this angel wings was, just It was one. He just saw one. What the hell he need a spaceship for? And how can he even get in the spaceship? Let that front mate. Okay. Anybody got any questions or comments before we go? They ain't got nothing but time. Like I said, time won't mean nothing to them. They ain't got nothing but time. You think them being able to concoct what they did, that was nothing. It's amazing to you, but that's nothing. These eternal beings, they've been here forever. We talking about spirits the other day. How, you stand no chance. If you don't have no kind of relationship or understanding with the Creator and understand what's going on, you don't stand a chance. They're going to flick you off into something before you know it. They've been doing this for thousands of years. Like I said, this ain't some new being. These are the same beings, the same spirits. The Most High said, these spirits are going to be here and torment mankind until the day of the judgment. The same spirits. Not no new spirits, same spirits. So you don't stand a chance if you're not dealing with the Creator and seeking Him out on a daily basis. You ain't gonna stand a chance. Okay. So with that being said, I say shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who the God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel. And it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.